Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to episode 17 of Grimm Tuesdays. I am so happy to start this whole series all over again as I took a break from it in August because I had a TBR, so I had to focus on that. So I'm super happy to get back on track with this series as it's something that I really enjoy doing. So the fairy tale that I'm going to be talking about today is called Thumbling. Now I did read this in August, but it was one that I didn't have time to get round to, so I have just finished rereading it for a second time. So the tale starts off with a poor couple who are just sitting around and just talking about, oh, I wish I had a child. And the wife is saying to her husband that I would love our son no matter what, even if he was no bigger than my thumb. And shortly after this, she becomes pregnant, and the baby, when it's born, it is completely fine. It is completely normal, apart from one small detail, no pun intended, that it's exactly the same size as her thumb. Not sure how that impacted her having a pregnant belly, as if it was like really small. But yeah. So yeah, fairy tale. So you're supposed to suspend some disbelief. But anyway, this couple embraces their new son and loves him and all that type of stuff. And one day, the husband says, "Oh, I'm going to go off into the forest now to cut some wood, but I do wish I had some help." And Thumbling, which is what they call their son, Thumbling, says, "I'll come and help you, father." And he says, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. How can you help?" And he says, "Well, if mother puts me in the ear of the horse, I can whisper into the horse's ear and give it directions." So when he's guiding this horse and cart in the horse's ear, he comes across these two men in the middle of the road that are just wandering around. And they see this cart and this horse, but no driver. So they think, okay, that's a little bit strange, but we'll go and follow this horse and see where it goes or where it's going. So when Thumbling reaches his father and the two men discover Thumbling and his unique appearance, they tell or request from the father rather that they actually buy his son. They want to take Thumbling into big cities and show him off and get money, kind of like a freak show type of thing. But obviously they don't say this to the father, but they do say that they will take very good care of him. And the father refuses this and says, "Oh, my son is not for sale, not for all the money in the world." And Thumbling tells his father, look, don't actually worry. I will come back. I will go with these men, but I promise I will come back." So he agrees to sell his son, and they give him some gold for his son, or for Thumbling. And he is placed on the hat of one of these men. And then after a while, he requests to be put on the ground for a rest, I suppose. And then I guess that when they're not looking, he runs off and hides into a mouse hole. And while in there, he laughs and jokes at these men, saying, "Ha ha ha, I tricked you." And they are trying to get to Thumbling by sticking in, sticks into this hole to try to get him to come out. But then they decide that, okay, he's gone, so they leave. So Thumbling comes out the hole and he finds this empty snail shell lying on the ground that he wants to go into to try to sleep for the night. And I was thinking about this as well. I was thinking, snails don't leave their shells unless they have died and deteriorated. So theoretically, he's lying and sleeping in the dead shell of a snail. So the very next day, I presume, two men are walking past and are discussing stealing gold and silver from this gentleman. And Thumbling introduces himself to these men and says that I will give you a hand and help you guys. So when he's in the house and it's night and everyone's asleep, he knowingly shouts and speaks in a louder voice, knowing full well that it will wake up the occupants of this house and that these two robbers are very upset about him for actually doing this, and they don't want him to like speak up and they want him to keep his voice down, but he reluctantly keeps on raising his voice every time they ask him to stop, and this results in the occupants waking up and the two robbers fleeing. And Thumbling, after this, goes into the barn of this house and falls asleep onto some straw. And the very next day, when he's still asleep, he is picked up unwillingly by the person. They don't know that he's in the straw, and he's being fed to a cow that's on the farm. And when he wakes up and he realizes where he is, he doesn't really know. He thinks that it's kind of a standard room. He doesn't know he's in the belly of a cow, or that he's been eaten alive. That's another thing that the Grimm brothers kind of snuck in. But I think that he knows that he's just in an empty room with no windows. So all the straw has been fed into the cow's mouth and down its throat, and Thumbling yells out, "Stop feeding me, stop feeding me." And the woman who is milking the cow at the time freaks out, goes to the master and tells the master, "Look, the cow is speaking." So the master says, "Oh, don't be silly, but I'll come with you anyway to check it out." And he hears the cow speaking, and as a result, he comes to the conclusion that the cow has been possessed by an evil spirit, and orders the cow to be killed and chopped up. So a fox comes along and eats a part of the meat that Thumbling is residing in. So he's in the belly of this fox, and he tells the fox, look, I'll take you to this house where there are all this food like biscuits, sausages, and bacon, I think it is. And when he gets to this house, he doesn't know this, the fox doesn't know this, but Thumbling has guided him to his parents' house. So while there, he yells at the top of his lungs, saying, "Father, Father, I'm in the belly of this fox." And unlike the cow, I know for a fact that he knows perfectly well that he is inside this fox, and that he knows full well that his father's going to kill it in order to get him out. And this leads to the father getting an axe and repeatedly hitting the fox over the head with this axe, presumably the sharp end, until it is dead, and he cuts it open and he gets his son out. And the son basically just like brushes off saying, "Father, I'm home." And yeah, they live happily ever after, apart from the two strangers, the two thieves, the cow and the fox. But everyone else apart from them lived happily ever after. This story reminded me a lot about like Tom Thumb, kind of, came to my mind. So let me know, what did you think about this story? Was you read this as a child? And yeah, we can just have a discussion about it down below in the comments. So yeah, with all that out of the way, all said and done, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.